Now, there are a few things in No Man's Sky that need immediate changes. There are a few things that need immediate improvements. And just overall, what can No Man's Sky become if these changes were implemented? In today's video, I've compiled a list of changes that I feel need to be made, especially with my extensive experience with No Man's Sky and how it has changed over the course of that duration. There is still work to be done. So we're going to discuss everything that's going to dramatically improve every single aspect of the game. And don't forget, guys, whilst I do have your attention, if by the end of today's video, if I've gone ahead and earned that subscription from you, then please make sure you hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to leave a like on this very video as well. It not only helps me out as a content creator, as a channel, but it also helps this information get out there to the wider YouTube audience who want to know about everything No Man's Sky. So like I said, like, subscribe if I have earned it, and let's get into today's video. Alright, so let's start off with something more light-hearted, and we'll get into the serious stuff in just a second. Now, as we can see, we have AFK players always sat down inside of the anomaly. Most of the time they're begging, they're wanting free items, which is why they are sat there. Now, these travelers remind me of climate activists, the ones that sit in the road and you see them all over the news, and they just sit there and people have to move them out of the way. Now, that's what comes to mind every single time I see someone just sitting randomly inside of the anomaly. So here's just a few ideas that I've thought about in a very quirky way on how this issue could be dealt with, if you even want to call it an issue. So first of all, there could be some sort of pen that is inside of the anomaly that when a player is detected as being AFK, they sat down, they show all the signs of being away from keyboard, then what they could do is they could get instantly teleported to the pen, and maybe it could be beside the Quicksilver companion or whatever, and everyone gets put in there, all sat down, and it'll have a message or some sort of board across the top of this pen that says, you know, donate here, give free items, whatever the case may be. Or maybe there could be like an active leaderboard on there for anybody who's in, and anyone that gets given an item shows like how many items that they've been given and donated and things like that. I just think something across the lines of that would be so funny, so quirky, so unique, and I feel like that it keeps the front of the anomaly completely clean and easy for people to get from A to B without having to, like, you know, step over all of these players that are just sat down for whatever reason. And it's quite funny because everyone then will be able to see them, they'll be able to see you, and it's just another way for active engagement. Let me know your thoughts about the AFK pen, because I feel like that would be such a quirky, unique feature, and I've never seen that implemented in any game ever. There's probably a reason for that, because it's a really, really stupid idea, but let me know your thoughts about it. Okay, so improvement number 2. Let's talk about expeditions, because currently expeditions in No Man's Sky is separate towards the main game, and when you are completing an expedition, you then can convert that expedition save to a normal game and continue on your merry way. But let's say you don't want to do that. Let's say, you know, like everybody who plays No Man's Sky, you have at the moment, you know, 5, 6, 7 expedition saves that you've probably never touched since you've completed the expedition, and your 1 or 2 main saves, the ones that you play every single day. Now, one of the things that I feel like would vastly improve that dynamic, and again, it's all about streamlining everything and keeping everything as clean as possible, that when you complete an expedition, why can't the progress of that be, instead of giving you a brand new save to do everything again, why can't it be all integrated into your main game? Whether that give you an achievement, maybe for completing it, give you some extra Quicksilver units, nanites, whatever the case may be. Why does it need to be an additional save? Or another way that they could go about it is actually, instead of making you do a brand new game every single time, they pull out an expedition, because, you know, we got an expedition literally just coming around the corner, because the one that is literally just about I think it's either ended or just about ended by this video goes out, then the next one comes out and you'll get a new save that you'll need to do everything all over again. So why not rewrite the way that expeditions are started and how they end, and actually integrate it as part of a mission set, a quest set within the game itself, rather than having two different entities. I hope that makes sense. So for example, where we, for example, do the Quicksilver daily missions or the weekend missions at the Nexus, maybe you could use that to start the mission quests, the lineup for that, for the entirety of the expedition quest, and it then saves having to do multiple saves, and it just keeps everything more clean. Just keep it all in one place, because people want to do these expeditions. But if you're like me, I don't want to have, you know, 20,000 different saves when I'm never going to use them ever again. I just end up deleting them after I've done the expedition, because then on my main account anyway, it unlocks everything that I want to unlock anyway. So why keep that separate? Bring it all together, unify everything. And I feel like that's going to be a big change that needs to happen. It needs to happen. And let me know, again, comment section down below if you agree with this. Okay, so this next one, and I feel it's time that we talk about this now. And I feel like it's something that's been in the back of the No Man's Sky community for a while, and it really needs to change now. Enough time has passed. So we know that the Nintendo Switch version of No Man's Sky launched, and it launched a good while ago. Now, Nintendo Switch peeps have been pretty much catching up with everybody else on No Man's Sky from all the different versions, and things are still needed to be added in even to this day from what we have here and what console has. So I think it is time that No Man's Sky gets brought online for the Nintendo Switch, for them to be fully integrated into the No Man's Sky ecosystem, for No Man's Sky on the Nintendo Switch to be able to be online, have the full package of what we here on console and on PC, like I am right now, fully enjoy. If they brought the game out on Nintendo Switch, it means that they should fully support it and have the exact same version that everybody else has, including online gameplay. I know the Nintendo Switch is very technically limited, and I'm not disputing that. What I am disputing is that there are plenty of games, plenty of ports of games for the Nintendo Switch that have full multiplayer functionality. So there really is no excuse at this point. They've had plenty of time to integrate it, and that needs to happen now. It needs to happen because at the end of the day, we are one big community, and at the moment it feels like we have the clicky club of all the Steam players and the console players, whether you're on Xbox or PlayStation. Even Mac has even joined the fray now, and they have all the same benefits as we do. But the Nintendo Switch peeps are kind of like in this dark hidden corner that we just turn our heads to, and that really needs to change. They need to be brought in with everybody else so we can all enjoy the same experiences, and they can play with their friends as we can already, you know, play with our pals on Xbox and PC and all the cross-platform stuff. But yeah, let me know again your thoughts, comment section down below. Now, whilst we are going through all these different changes that does need to be implemented into No Man's Sky, that will change the dynamic of the game. But let's just talk slightly out with the game, but still affects everybody who plays. Now, I'm talking, of course, about the transparency between Hello Games and its customers, and the very people like you and me that want to know about upcoming changes or just about any aspect of No Man's Sky. Now, the way that Hello Games could implement more communication with its community and its fan base is very simple. Even putting out a monthly or bi-monthly update message of what's happening, what the team are currently roughly working on. Obviously, I understand they don't want to spill all the beans on the next latest and greatest, and which is fully understandable, but they could for example, say, you know, we're working on the next update, we're looking at all of these fixes, because, for example, if you have a problem right now on No Man's Sky and you fill out the information over on the Zendesk, poof, it's gone. You have no idea if anyone has even seen it. You have no idea if Hello Games have even received the message. So what they could do is give us some sort of, like I said, bi-monthly message board of going, okay, these are the problems that we know about and these are the problems that we are currently trying to resolve. Just some sort of open communication line between No Man's Sky, Hello Games and its consumers. I feel like at the moment it has been dead silent, and it's understandable to the history of No Man's Sky, which I won't reiterate too much right now or have a deep dive into it. But on the very short end, for everybody who knows, for those who don't, No Man's Sky, bad launch, Mr. Murray spouted out the game as something that at that very moment it was not, and it's been radio silence ever since. However, that was back in 2016. We're in 2023. The redemption, in my mind, from the team has already been made. So the silence now doesn't make much sense, other than if it's not broke, don't fix it, and that's that. But the fact is, the communication line is broken now. They've made the redemption. They don't need to hide in the shadows anymore. They need to have that full line of communication. And I feel like at the moment, they still are not on the same page as everybody else. So, you know, let me know again your thoughts about this. Do you think that they need to open up a line of communication with the community? All right, so the very next thing I want to talk about is virtually everything else, really. So we have, for example, the same quest line in No Man's Sky that hasn't changed at all for years. There has been no new material. And some people make the argument going, well, you know, they give us expeditions, but expeditions are different from the main game. They're a separate entity altogether. It's not part of the main quest line. Now, if they did implement what I already suggested earlier on in today's video, bringing the expeditions into the main save and giving that instead as an update to the main quest line, just keeping it added on, then that dynamic then would instantly change, because technically speaking, every massive update should I say, would get new main quest material. So that definitely needs to change. Whether or not they keep the expeditions to one side is another thing, but just giving us new actual main quest lines, I feel is a must, especially for a game this old. It needs to start getting some new material before it starts to essentially just become the same old, and it is getting that point for many players, crossing the boundary between new players and those that have had the game for a while and done everything 1,000 times over. Another thing, of course, and I always say it virtually every video, is the networking issues. They need to fix all of the major problems. Now, we understand going from deep dives that we've done before to why that's more difficult, because technically speaking, they outsource multiplayer to a different company entirely. It's Microsoft Azure, that actually run the multiplayer arm of No Man's Sky. So there are limitations there as well. And now, because No Man's Sky has given it out to a third-party company, and of course it's all for cost reasons, they've basically kneecapped themselves, shot themselves in the foot. So how that is going to be implemented going forward, I don't know. But what they do need to do is figure out a way on how multiplayer can be expanded. So rather than just seeing a select few people on a planet, let's say you're in a party of 4 and another party tries joining in. I think the current limit at the moment is on some of the more community events that people are running. I think that the limit is about 12, give or take. And that's it. But yet you have games out there that have in-house servers and in-house everything, or just do it differently for hosting multiplayer, and they can have instantly, you know, 200, 300, 400 people, up to 1,000 people and or more. It is insane. And, you know, if even something like that can be implemented for No Man's Sky, that would change the gameplay in a dramatic way. I mean, even Minecraft, of all things, and that is run by Microsoft, so it's not impossible. Microsoft runs Minecraft, and Minecraft can have, you know, 500-600 player servers without even breaking a sweat. So No Man's Sky, Microsoft run the multiplayer arm of No Man's Sky anyway, so it can be done, and I know it can be done. It's just a case of, and I feel it's down to a cost issue. I feel like that's why it is what it is, because anybody who's run or owned a server before, like I've run, for example, a 7 Days to Die server before, and, you know, you have a selection of price points, and you can have, for example, at a lower price, you can have, you know, up to 7 or 8 players. A slightly different price or slightly more cost, you can have more players, and so on and so on. And I feel like that is probably the main cause of it. I feel like No Man's Sky or Hello Games actually cap how many players, because if they want more, they're going to have to pay extra for that service, which makes sense. It's a business, but I feel like they're not going to pay more for a service for that. So let me know your thoughts about that. But if they can find a way to do it to where it's cost effective for them, but it also gives us a more expanded multiplayer experience, I feel like that would be a massive win, and also making things in No Man's Sky just more interesting. And now I'm not just talking about, you know, just adding different props in or different things. I'm talking about maybe even hosting events or something across the line to get the community more engaged. It could even be, you know, 3 or 4 monthly kind of deal where No Man's Sky hosts a massive event for players to all compete or do something, whether that be PvP or races with Exocraft, because Exocraft are virtually useless for everything else these days. And, you know, some communities out there that I won't mention which, but they will do, like, you know, different events, and they'll like do races and everything else and host things. So yeah, I just feel like if No Man's Sky did that themselves, it would change the dynamic once again. But, you know, that's just a good few things off my list on what needs to change in No Man's Sky as a whole to change the dynamic and the feel of how it all plays. But yeah, let me know your thoughts about everything that I've mentioned in today's video, and let me know in the comment section, do you agree with anything? Do you have any more ideas? Let me know your ideas on what you would like to change in No Man's Sky. Comment section down below. Anyway guys, that is everything from me here today, and as always, my name is Professor Cynical, and I'll catch you all again in the next one. Bye for now.